Hi, everyone, and welcome to another expert interview for the nonprofit Mark community. Today, I'm speaking with Mark Hallman of Evergreen Digital Marketing. Mark is Google AdWords certified partner, and he specializes in AdWords training, account management, and Google Grants management. Hi, Mark. Thanks for joining me.
Hi, Marlene. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, Mark has blogged for us before on how to set up Google Grants, but I've asked him to come back and answer some questions because it seems like we could benefit from some of the basics around Google AdWords and Google Grants. So let's start there. Mark, can you please tell us what Google AdWords and Google Grants are?
Of course. And we're actually going to start with Google Grants so we can kind of talk about why people will want to be involved with the program. So simply put, the Google Grants program offers up to $10,000 per month of in-kind advertising to qualified charitable organizations, and that's through the Google AdWords platform. So the best part of the program is that once you're accepted, your budget is automatically renewed every month. So really, even though it's $10,000 per month, you do have $120,000 of advertising available to your organization every year on Google. And that is broken down to a $329 limit per day, but it's still a lot of money. Your grant can be used to promote a number of different areas in your organization. Excuse me. It could be used for volunteer recruitment, general awareness campaigns. You can use it to promote the programs and services that you provide, and to a lesser extent, you can also use it for fundraising. So that's the Google AdWords, the Google Grant side of it. Google AdWords is the program that you use to set up your Google Grant campaigns and advertisements to spend your monthly in-kind budget. So AdWords is a platform that supports advertising on Google search. When you complete a search on Google, you'll often see sponsored ads appear above or to the side of the organic results. Those are being served up through AdWords, and that's where your ads will show up. That's paid advertising, and it's actually where the term pay-per-click advertising comes from, as each time someone clicks on those ads, it costs the advertiser money. And just to step quickly into AdWords, the flip side of that, so how does AdWords work for you as an advertiser? You basically start by selecting keywords that are relevant to the goal you're trying to meet, and you'll write text ads that hopefully catch the eye of the person doing the search. And if your ad does catch their eye and they click through, they'll be taken to whichever page on your site you've linked that ad to. So it's a great way to bring people to your website while they're actively searching for the keywords you've chosen.
Right. Okay, well, you've really covered, I mean, it's an incredible opportunity, it sounds like, and you can use, nonprofits can use it in a number of ways from what you've already described. Would you add anything to the benefits of the Google Grants program? Why should nonprofits, and what do you think? Do you think every nonprofit should apply for Google Grants?
Yeah, aside from the $10,000 per month, which is just like a fantastic opportunity, in most nonprofits and charitable organizations, the biggest struggle is getting marketing dollars. So this is free in-kind money that shows up every month in your account. So the biggest benefit is you're able to promote your programs and services or raise awareness for your organization online. And like I mentioned before, it's for people who are actively searching on Google for related words. So it's not a passing banner ad, it's not a mail piece or a newspaper ad. People are actually searching for what you're offering, and that ad's served up to them, and then they can find your organization. And the nice part is, it's a really good way to capture people who may or may not know your organization exists. And aside from that, raising awareness is a great piece of it. Promoting programs and services for people who are searching for associated terms, and really you can do general outreach, staff and volunteer recruitment, and promote your events. So there's a lot of different ways you can benefit from this program.
Great. Okay, thank you for sharing that. Now, you did blog on how to set up Google Grants before, because I know it's not necessarily such a straightforward process, and some folks might be skeptical about whether it's worth learning about it and getting set up. What would you say to the skeptics?
Yeah, there are some skeptics out there. There's typically two reasons I hear people don't want to be involved in the Google Grants program or don't think it's worth their time. One, there is a shortage of time and staff time, and we all know the human capital piece of it isn't to be forgotten. But it really is too valuable of an opportunity to pass up. any chance you have to enhance your branding or get your website and information in front of your target audience is important. And these are people who are actively looking for you, so it's really direct way to reach them. And you don't have to have the most complex campaigns to start out. So while time is an issue, you could start out with a few simple branded campaigns and work out from there. So time's the number one issue I hear people talk about. And the other challenge I hear is that people say they just don't need it. And that's referenced in the fact that they search well, or so they rank well organically on Google already.
Okay.
So when people are looking for their website, they rank number one. And that's true for most organizations. For your branded keywords, you probably will rank number one overall. And there's two counterpoints to that. So one, if you have an ad above your organic result, you're basically taking up more of that above the fold real estate on Google. So it's going to have less chance for your competitors, if you have competitors in your space, or for-profits or other organizations to have their information show above yours. So that's one piece of it. And the other piece is that you probably won't rank for every program and service you offer.
Sure.
So this is a way to just make sure when people are searching for related terms, your ad and your content is served up on Google where people will find it.
Clearly, you've heard all the arguments and you've got all of the rebuttals. That's great. Okay, so you've convinced us. So the next step is to get started. Where should nonprofits get started? What should they be thinking about as they get started with the program?
Yeah, really, like any marketing campaign, you want to start with deciding where you want the exposure for your organization. If you're actively doing a volunteer recruitment drive, that's where you should start. If you're looking at general awareness campaigns, you can start there. But start with your end goals and work backwards. So once you decide your goals, you pick up your keywords that people would use to find you. Typically, you start with a list of 10 to 20 relevant keywords, and from there you write a relevant ad. My advice on that is try not to be too fancy or catchy. The direct approach is rewarded on Google. And just to touch on that for a second, I talked about linear and relevancy before, but this is really people looking for your services, programs, or whatever you provide. They're typing that into Google, they're seeing your ad, and then you can take them to the page deep into your site which is most related to that. So it's a way for you to control your content and get people onto your page. And to go a little bit past that, so once we talk about AdWords itself, we can also talk about measurement. So the AdWords platform does have a fair bit of measurement built in. Very clearly it helps you talk about click-through rates. You can see which keywords people are accessing to click your ads and see your ads and head to your website. But the other piece of it is that AdWords ties very well to Google Analytics. So you take that full piece there, you're able to really see from the search query, which people type into Google, to clicking your ad, and then when you flip over to the analytics side, you're able to see how people interact with your website and if they're converting goals or what they're doing. And that really helps you kind of work right back to start again and see which keywords and which search terms are working best for you and your goals.
And that sounds you could tie it into other work, outside of advertising, other content that you develop.
Absolutely. And a number of organizations find that there's what they thought was a very small niche of their traffic turns out to this really big subset of people who are looking for things they offer, and they might not have found otherwise.
Awesome. Okay, great. So, do you have any recommendations for resources to support nonprofits using Google Grants, either your own resources or those from others?
Yep. My blog tends to be mostly about Google AdWords and the Google Grants program, so that's a good place to start if I had plug myself here.
Absolutely.
And we'll put a post at the end of the, or attach that link at the end of the post. But the other three spots I look at for this are really all Google related. GoogleGrants.blogspot.ca is all about the Google Grants program. It's a little bit drier information and it's a little bit less frequented. But if you have very direct questions about the grants program, it's a good spot to start. Once you get comfortable in the AdWords platform and you want to go a bit more advanced, AdWords.blogspot.ca is also a good reference point, and that's really with the AdWords platform itself. So there is some irrelevant information there for Google grantees, but if you have any questions about how Google AdWords works, that's the spot you can ask it. And then, of course, the Google for Nonprofits blogspot site as well.
Okay.
And that talks about the Google grant, but also YouTube for Nonprofits and the other resources there too. But those are the three kind of go-to spots that I
Okay,
would use and
great.
suggest.
Awesome, thank you. So before we go, I'm just wondering if you have any other closing tips or pieces of advice.
Yeah, number one piece would be just jump in and get started. The hardest part about getting approved for the Google grant is just deciding to do it. And that's really the number one catching spot. So people take their time, hum and haw, weigh the options, and talk with the effort. But really, my experience has been if you submit a nice tight application, which is just a form online, you'll be approved if you're qualified and you make the good case to Google. So jump in, get started. Again, there's resources online, people to ask if you do get stuck during the application process. It's not that hard. And the last piece of advice is there is a lot of information. AdWords is a deep platform. There's a ton of different options you can do, a lot of things you can do in AdWords for advertising, but don't feel like you have to learn everything the first day. My advice, if you're starting out, build that branded campaign to start with. You'll understand your keywords best. You'll understand your messaging best. And just slowly learn, gain your comfort level, dedicate a set amount of time per week, whether it's half an hour or 45 minutes or an hour or more if you have it. But just make sure you block that time off in your calendar and dedicate that kind of ongoing learning piece to the AdWords platform. And it is tricky, but you can pick it up. There's no reason not to.
It's like anything, as soon as you start, it becomes less intimidating, it sounds like.
Exactly.
Okay, great. Well, this has been super, super helpful. So thank you for sharing your expertise with us, Mark.
Of course, you're welcome.
And as Mark mentioned, what we're going to do is share some key points from this discussion, as well as the links that Mark mentioned and links to his blog over at the Nonprofit Mark Community blog. So if you're watching this video on the site, you can see the links right now. And also, we'll include a link to Mark's blog post about how to set up your Google Grants account. So I hope you found this very useful, and that's it. Good luck getting started with your Google Grants. Thanks again, Mark.
Yep, thank you.